What's up, everyone? Kyle here. Welcome to this edition of Our Travel Tips. In this episode, I'm talking about some of the struggles that can occur while traveling. So, I know when we look on Instagram or other social media, or we talk with people about their travel experiences, we usually only see the good things or talk about the good things, which there are a ton of good things, and I think they outweigh the bad. But there is a lot of struggles and things that don't always go well on a trip, and so I think it's important to know that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the Instagram perfect, perfect moment that we see on social media. So I can tell you from experience, I've had a lot of rough times while I've been traveling. Not only have I struggled with like culture shock, so going to a new place and having a hard time kind of adjusting to being in the new culture that I'm in, but also I would say reverse culture shock is also a thing. That's a whole separate thing, which you can check out in my book at the end of the year. I have a whole chapter on that, but reverse culture shock is actually one of the biggest struggles that I've had personally. Coming back home after being away for a long time and kind of having a hard time readjusting. So those are two big ones that can happen to us while we're traveling. But also just the little things. There's so many little things that can go wrong when you're traveling, like losing luggage. That's happened to me before. That sucks. Sucks when you don't have all the things that you need, or that you're planning to have on your trip. So that's one. Maybe you can't speak the language and you end up getting lost in the place that you're in. That has happened to me as well, and that can be tough also to deal with. Maybe something happens with food. Maybe you can't eat some of the food, or maybe you have a bad reaction or bad digestive reaction to some of the food that you're eating while you're traveling. I can totally speak to that as well. Some food has definitely not agreed with me when I've been traveling, and that can be a really rough time on your trip. I would also say, maybe something random happens. Like I have an example of when I went to Texas a couple years ago during the middle of that huge ice storm that you might have heard about. Um, the place that we were supposed to stay at, the hotel, their pipes froze, and so nobody could stay there. We had to go find another hotel. Even then, the water didn't really work at that other hotel, and yeah, it was a weird fluke thing where we were there at the wrong time, and we had to deal with that situation as well. Or maybe a reservation gets messed up and you have to go to a different place or get a different car or something like that. All of these things have happened to me. I swear, every time I travel, something inevitably goes wrong. I don't think I've ever had a perfect trip where everything went exactly right. That's just not the reality of it. There's a lot of variables, a lot of things that you can't necessarily plan for, or are just gonna throw you off a little bit when you're traveling. And I think that's honestly part of the beauty of traveling, is dealing with some of those challenges and having to be in the moment and figure it out, because you don't really have an option. You gotta make the trip work and get home. So, there can be a lot of struggles with traveling. Um, Flights getting canceled or delayed or things like that. All of that stuff has happened to me as well. I've had to sleep in airports. I've had to get rerouted to other airports. I've had flights canceled. I've gotten into my destination late. I've missed connections. Um, there's so many different things. So um, just know that it's going to happen. Know that something is going to go wrong on your trip, and just kind of planning ahead. Giving yourself time to deal with those things as they come up. Don't pack in your trip, or put so much pressure on your trip to be perfect, because you're just going to be disappointed. Also, check out this recent example where I just went to Philadelphia in Delaware, and you can hear a little bit of how how awful it was to actually get to Delaware and experience all the great things that I experienced there and in Philadelphia as well. Things it could have been a lot worse for sure, but it was a rough time getting over there. My body was a little bit wrecked, and it was kind of a tough week walking around the city and exploring because I was dealing with an injury, and so I hobbled around Philadelphia and Delaware for a week, and you know what? I saw so many amazing things. It worked out. I had a great time, but it just goes to show you that, so there's always something that's going to happen, and it's not always going to be perfect. So again, just enjoy it. Second, I'm going to share a little bit about the not so glamorous side of travel. Everyone thinks that travel's so amazing and nothing goes wrong and everything like that, but that's definitely not the case. So as you can see, I got my backpack on and I have my suitcase with me here, which is kind of embarrassing walking through town with this the whole time, and it's honestly a hassle, but yeah, I had a long night last night. I flew out of Seattle at 9:30 p.m. or 9:40 p.m. and got into Philadelphia at 5:45 a.m. in Philadelphia, which is 2:45 a.m. my time back in Seattle. So not much sleep, did not sleep very well on the plane, had a long day in Seattle the day before, and then had to take the train to Delaware, and now we're here walking around with all my stuff, tired, not having a lot of sleep. So travel can be really hard sometimes, and it's not always glamorous, but you know what, it's been a lot of fun to see a lot of different things, and you don't get the opportunity to do that without a little bit of adversity or a little bit of struggle to get where you're going, and a little bit of work to get where you're going. So yeah, not so glamorous all the time, but it's definitely worth it. I've already had some amazing experiences just in the last few hours here that I've been here. So that's just a brief overview of some struggles. Again, plan ahead for it, and just kind of embrace that something's going to happen that's not going to be ideal, and I think you'll enjoy the trip a lot more. And like anything, if you have to struggle and kind of earn it, I think you enjoy it a lot more. So I actually really appreciate all the things that go wrong, because it makes that moment where something's perfect or something's really right when I'm traveling. It makes that moment so much better. And again, if you want to learn more, reach out to me. Also subscribe so you can see more videos, and check out the podcast so you can hear experiences from other travelers and some of their good and bad. I always make sure that we talk about a little bit of the bad as well as the good. And check out my book at the end of the year, because it's going to have a lot more details. It's going to have a lot more of my stories where I'm outlining my struggles as well when traveling. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I look forward to talking with you all again next week.